Well, hello, everybody. This is Tim, and this is another one of our side shoot shows, still name to be determined. The writers are working hard to try to come up with that, and the producers are breathing down our neck to hammer that down. But
this is the show with no name.
Yeah, the no name show. It's like that creepy guy across the street who always has his shades drawn, but he peeks out at you every time you go get your mail, and one of his hands is not visible.
He's the Cloplex.
Yeah. But he smiles at you with that really weird smile, and you become very uncomfortable, and that's who we are becoming. So, but to get all that weirdness out of the way, I am Tim, and I'd like to welcome my co-host over there, Darren.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing today, Darren?
We're doing great. Everybody's doing great. We're ready for a great pod here. Yeah,
and we're still, like I say, the name's TBA or TDA, TBA, whatever. I'm not good at acronyms at this moment, so but we're gonna, again, if you're just checking us out for the first time, we're kind of a short form, 20, 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. You know, we're going to get in. We're like cheating on your wife. You know, you want to get in there, do the job, get the hell out of there before the husband comes home. No harm, no foul.
It's window hopping time.
So we're, like I say, this is net free. I have no notes. Darren has no notes. We're just going to pick a topic and kind of discuss our feelings on such topic. I was thinking something that kind of jumped out to me. Without further ado, we'll get into today's topic. Was when we had discussed The Villain last year. Some of you may want to check that episode out on the Arnold Stallone podcast, Test Pod number 2. We were discussing The Villain, which made me kind of want to seek out more movies by the great Hal Needham, which I know you are a huge fan of the Cannonball Run.
Absolutely. If I'm going to a desert island, I am taking the Cannonball Run.
Yeah, I love the Cannonball Run. I just watched Smokey and the Bandit last week. I don't know, maybe I've seen it too many times, but I had to kind of take breaks through it. It's still a good movie. It's funny to me. I mean, we're not talking about Smokey and the Bandit, but it's funny to me about Smokey and the Bandit how they're running Coors beer.
It took me a long time, but there's actually an explanation for that, and we could, it's a long explanation, but it actually does. Back then, it actually is legit that they actually there was a tax thing and everything, and going across the Mississippi, and so there actually is a true life, a real thing for smuggling Coors beer specifically over into the southern United States.
And then I think, that if that entices you, you might have to check us out. We might have that as a future episode. Just stay tuned. But we're not talking about Cannonball Run today. We're talking about a movie that oh, my Canadian just kicked in there. But we're talking about a movie I actually discovered. To kind of take the long way around it, I've become very bored with new movies nowadays. They just
very predictable.
Yeah, there's just no substance behind them, and so I've been going to older movies.
Yes, a lot more character development and a lot more just pathos and a lot more just connection on a human level.
Right. It's really more like the story's a little more, you can get engrossed with it. And it's also a capsule of its time.
Absolutely.
And one movie that I had, I was on vacation and I was, we're just kind of sitting there by the beach, and I was going through my Fandango at Home app, and a Burt Reynolds movie popped up with directed by Hal Needham. And like I say, I try and okay, well, I've enjoyed most of the movies I've seen, and this movie is 1978's Hooper with Burt Reynolds.
Great movie.
Yeah, I never heard of it, but I know you're more the movie connoisseur for those 70s movies than I am, and I'm kind of discovering it for the first time, but I believe you've seen this movie.
Yes, that's definitely my wheelhouse. I have a wheelhouse, and it is the 70s, 80s movies of that ilk. So I am very much seen that when I was a kid, and I've owned it. I lost it camping somewhere. Common grabbed it when we were camping somewhere, and whatever.
Bastards.
But I'll have to get it again one of these days. But yeah, great movie. Of course, the great Roscoe P. Coltrane.
That surprised me, but it was a pleasant surprise.
Yes. John Best, I believe his name is. he is.
Yes. Yeah. James Best.
James Best.
Yeah.
Yes. Great actor. He was actually an acting coach and / stuntman.
Oh yeah.
And him and Burt Reynolds were friends in real life.
Nice.
Just
It
like all
shows.
of those guys
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing we should say about these movies is that's why I love the Hal Needham, Burt Reynolds collaborations, whatever they are, because they have so much fun together making them with all of their friends. And it's just like, you can tell it's just literally like just some sort of wild party that they had where they just filmed it and had, but they're all very super talented people at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're just not goofing around.
it's not just untalented people making something that doesn't make sense. This is super talented people at the height of their power making something. And if you really watch it for what it is, it's a great movie. Now this movie can very easily be poo-pooed by snobs and just, this is just stupid,
I mean, anyone can cynically just tear this movie to shreds. There's so many things that, and I think that's the great thing I love about these older movies is, you can see like the bar fight, for example, when the one guy has Burt Reynolds lifted over his head, you can literally see the top of the set and the lights and the riggers. But I kind of appreciate that.
Yes.
Because everything now is such a CGI slop is the term I see come up. It's
just all the movies nowadays are just a blur of CGI. You can't tell what is this and that, and then it just makes my eyes just kind of hurt sometimes even watching those movies. But this movie was from what I remember, it was a kind of a love story to the stuntman. It was sort of there because we know that Burt Reynolds started out as a stuntman actor. Hal Needham was the stunt coordinator on many, many, many movies, and as well as the second AD, which is a lot of times the stunt coordinator. He did Spy Who Loved Me, I believe. I know he did a couple James Bond movies.
Yeah. Let's see here.
And that's why he was able to get Roger Moore to do Cannonball Run. I think he was a stunt coordinator, like I said, on some. I know he was on some Bond movies, but anyways, he, so he talk about super talented and Bond movies back then. For everybody who doesn't know, those were the stunt extraordinaire movies at the time.
Yeah,
like when a James Bond movie came out back then, you were going to see stunts that you weren't going to see in any other movie.
Yeah,
and that's what made those movies so special back then, was because you weren't going to get that out of a regular movie. The only movies where they had the highest stunts were the James Bond series back then.
Yeah, the spectacle of them and just the size.
And they were just bigger than anything that any movie was doing at the time. Now everybody does these huge stunts. Tom Cruise jumps off a whatever,
right?
Name your thing that he jumps off of.
Tom Cruise jumps off of fill in blank.
Fill in blank. Cliff, building, plane, whatever it does. He's just
if it's moving, even better.
he's high up in the air, hanging on by one hand, and
Of course, I will give Tom Cruise props because he is really only one of the last guys that still does that.
Yeah, you've got to give him credit. That's what he is, and so he would probably be a fan of this movie then, because this was all about stuntman and stuff. So kind of like the way that the TV show The Fall Guy was also a sort of a stuntman's love letter. Yeah, because Lee Majors was a stuntman as well. Like Burt Reynolds started off as a stuntman / actor.
I mean, I don't know if there's any truth behind this, but I think this movie may have inspired Fall Guy. Again, I don't know.
It looks like it's all about the same time. So nowadays, you
see some similarities. Maybe it's just the time. I mean, they're both driving big old pickup trucks. Of course, let's not forget the luscious Sally Field.
She just looks amazing in that movie.
Yeah,
Sally Field is so.
Yeah, she was
even underrated hottie of the 70s
and
80s was Sally Field, because she was such because the whole country knew her as Gidget, as a sort of dorky teenager, and
wasn't she also the flying nun?
The flying nun as well. So you're talking about America's perception of this person was a straight as arrow, clean cut. Yeah,
she doesn't use foul language,
right? Or but
she's never been naked,
right? She, that's it. So no one really thought of her or even looked at her that way. So, but this and Smoking the Bandit and all that, she just shows you how dynamite she was.
It's. One of the things I'm loving about going back to these older shows, I'll just kind of go off topic a little bit here, was I've been watching the Mary Tyler Moore Show. I never realized what a dish Cloris Leachman was back then. Holy shit.
Yeah, actually, I know. It's actually, there's some, we were like, wait, what?
Yeah. I think of Cloris Leachman, I think of an old lady, but it's, duh, everyone was young once.
Yeah, everybody was young and, good looking once,
But and that's Sally, and I'll even give Sally Field credit now. She still is pretty
good looking,
pretty good looking older lady. Let's just say a mature cougar.
Yeah, she's aged very well. Yeah. So, and then of course you've got the Brian Keith. Mm-hmm. So he's sort of at the end of his career.
Yeah.
But he's done some great movies and TV shows and stuff like that. And apparently, I remember reading this years ago, that character that he plays on Hooper was actually a sort of an amalgamation of Sally Field's actual stepfather.
Oh, really?
Who was I believe it was her stepfather or something like that, who was a classic, old school, very famous stuntman.
Stuntman.
Yeah. So if I'm remembering this wrong, then I'm sorry, and don't listen to me. But.
Right, like I say, we have no notes here. There's no
this
preparation.
Is all going off my noggin from what I remember. Right?
We're trying to pull stuff out of the air here, people, so you can't expect too much.
And that's it. But so he was kind of that, and then of course you have
the fantastic Jan-Micheal Vincent.
Jan-Micheal Vincent. So he's a guy who was supposed to be like...
Oh, man.
People don't know who Jan-Micheal... He was supposed to be like the next... Well, he was supposed to be like... Think of Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be like the 80s sort of Brad Pitt.
Yeah. He was the next thing.
He was the next thing. And then I think drugs and alcohol, he spun out, and that was it.
Yeah, that's one of those weird... I always thought he died young.
I thought he died... But apparently
he just died like 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
I thought it was a James Dean type thing.
He just disappeared.
Oh yeah, he was gone.
He was everywhere and then gone, just like someone did die.
Yeah,
I mean he was gone. Poof. No one knew who the hell Jan-Micheal Vincent was after like 86 or something. Yeah, 85.
Yeah,
yeah. After whatever that, Blue Thunder or
let's see here,
Airwolf.
Oh, that's right, Airwolf.
Airwolf.
It's funny because my wife's sister still has a poster of Jan-Micheal Vincent on her wall, and she's older than we are. But
well, yeah, like I said, people that were older than us, the girls, they loved him.
Oh yeah,
he was more of a little bit of late 70s. Mm-hmm. There's actually, I'll let everybody in on this little secret with the Jan-Micheal Vincent. Jan-Micheal Vincent made a movie with Charles Bronson called The Mechanic. Great movie. 70s. Charles Bronson is a hitman, and that's another term for a hitman is a mechanic. Mm-hmm. As a contract killer, basically, is a mechanic, is the sort of the good euphemism for it. And Jan-Micheal Vincent becomes his protege. And great movie. So it's very 70s, very dirty and very grungy, and I
think Charles Bronson's one of those guys too he's kind of disappeared over the landscape of time.
Yeah, he made a lot of those death wishes at the very end. I think he was just looking for, and they just got worse and worse.
Oh, the first one was awesome. The second one was kind of like, okay,
weird. And then the third and fourth, fifth, you're like, what?
they were on Tubi, and I was injured last year, and I had a bunch of time on my hands, and so I started watching movies I'd never seen before, which may have kicked off my whole nostalgia craze. But the Death Wish was the first one, and I was like, yeah, this movie's awesome. Because I remember hearing about Death Wish. Everyone's always talked about Death Wish. You know, you must have a Death Wish. You know?
Well, and Death Wish is very much like First Blood. Mm-hmm. Very different from what they turned out to be later on, because by first, he's,
right.
We know what he's, lighting himself on fire with some gunpowder. The first one, he's just like a mental lunatic who's just been beat up too much.
He's just trying to do his little
just trying to get a sandwich and a cup of coffee.
Just let me live my life, man.
And much like the same with the Death Wish, it was the first one was very. And then it turned into freaking what?
Because I think I watched the first one, I was like, yes. And then I watched the second one, and I was kind of like, okay. Mm-hmm. And then I was thinking, okay, well, then there's number 3. And then I was something came up, and I have not yet gone back to finish the Death Wish saga, as it were. I didn't even see the Bruce Willis remake because I don't know. For me, remakes are just kind of like hit and miss. Usually it's miss. But But so we're not here talking about Death Wish. We're here talking about the fantastic Jan-Micheal Vincent that
in Hooper. Yeah, but once again, Hooper. That's one of the. It's got the director was a stand-up comedian named. He did all the impersonations.
Robert Klein.
Robert Klein.
Yeah.
Didn't he do a lot of impersonations and stuff?
No, I think you're thinking of Rich Little.
Okay, I'm thinking of Rich Little.
Yeah, no, Robert Klein was always kind of a...
He just did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he was like an everyday actor. I shouldn't say an everyman's actor.
Okay.
He could be funny. He was kind of I always remember him as being like straight like the straight guy.
Yeah. And he did play it, and he played the director so what the movie is, they're making a movie, and Adam West, of course, let's not forget that Adam West is the star of the fake movie that they're making.
I thought that was I thought he was awesome because he plays like an over exaggerated version of himself.
Yes, he actually, Adam West definitely was a gem that got kind of definitely stepped on. And
that whole Batman thing just
ruined. Yeah, it got him. But he was such a, it's like Shatner almost went the same, but it worked for Shatner, but it didn't work for Adam West. They kind of got canned because of that. But anyway, so and then they've got so I've heard and I've read that the Robert Klein character as the director was actually a sort of supposed to be like Peter Bogdanovich. It was supposed to be a direct sort of because how he's an asshole in the movie. Mm-hmm. That was their version of Peter Bogdanovich, and I'm sure that Burt Reynolds or Hal Needham, if we looked it up, he was a stunt coordinator or something for him, and I don't know, but
they'd back that up.
And
of course,
but that's all. Like I said, I think that's hearsay, and I don't know.
Right? Yeah. So. Yeah. We're not spreading internet rumors here or anything. So please don't have your lawyers call us. But
prank caller.
Yeah. The email to that is okay. Did you get that? But then we also need to, I guess, give a proper acknowledgement that Terry Bradshaw was one of the bar that gets in the fight with Burt Reynolds in the bar.
Yes, and Terry Bradshaw's actually almost in every Burt Reynolds movie. He was in the second Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah. He was in Cannonball Run. Yep. He was in something else too. He's been in quite a few Burt Reynolds. He's been at least 3 or 4 Burt Reynolds movies. So yeah, they're definitely good old boys. So I mean,
I enjoyed this movie, which is let's see. So watching old Hal Needham movies, I haven't run across one yet where I was just like, ugh, really? They're like you say, they're all entertaining. Mm-hmm. Burt Reynolds is always. I like 70s and 80s Burt Reynolds. Totally. You can tell he's just the tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
doing the scenes, and
he's just having fun and just loving every minute.
Yeah,
and just living life. And and there's another scene where they're goofing around and they're driving down the PCH. It looks like, and they're in like kind of like trucks or something like that, and they're throwing beers back and forth to each other. Yeah, and I know it doesn't look good nowadays, for today's sort of thing, but. Back then, I mean, that was sort of standard, like just drinking some beers, cruising down the road. Time. That was just like, I mean, now the cool thing is you like look up some of these old pictures about that time when this was a little after the gas crisis though, but during that time, people weren't really driving. So I remember seeing some old pictures of PCH and literally there's people having a picnic. On PCH on the road during like the 70s gas crunch. Wow. So in California, same spot. So
yeah.
But it's just fun to watch that kind of, like I said, that's what was normal back then. I mean, having some beers and driving down the road was not
just goofing off and just having fun because he ends up spinning his truck around. He's doing 65 in reverse on the freeway, and the cop comes over to him, and pull over. And like, no, we're doing. They're just mouthing off to the cop and stuff, and.
Obviously that, we don't know how much, obviously it's a movie. Yeah. So, but that kind of goofing around was, I mean, because I remember people still doing that when we were younger in the 90s, kind of doing that same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's definitely a bygone era now.
It's like you don't realize what you had until it's like you see it and you're like, oh, that's right, I remember the shenanigans.
Was perfectly legal.
And,
or whatever. Not
cop pulls you
as
over.
long as you weren't drunk, there was no open container laws.
No, everybody's holding a beer, but
everybody's holding a beer. It's like, well, as long as you're not drunk, it's like, and drunk wasn't really a breathalyzer. It was like a visual,
you're sloppy. It's like almost sloppy. You're sloppy drunk.
Yeah, you'd have to be falling over just about.
It's like, I think you've had too much to drink. Let's call your mother, boss, son. It's not like, okay, now you're going to jail for a week.
Yeah, and just fine. But I mean, we get it though. There's been a lot of problems with that too, so it's not but we're just saying it was definitely when people were a little more responsible back then too as well, and there wasn't as many people on the road, and so times were different,
right?
Times were different, so
it was a nice little time capsule. Like I say, it just makes me not really long, like I'm not one who looks in the past as far as like I wish, but it's fun to visit,
right?
Because
just sit there and watch all the different, the cars and the clothes and the people and the, like I just said, with the goofing around on the road and all the different things that make that time period.
Yeah. It's like, to kind of go off subject just a little bit, I keep seeing, I was watching this really good video on YouTube about a creator. He had termed the movies nowadays as visual slop. And I totally agree, because I was thinking about it, because I'm a movie collector. I still buy physical media. I mean,
for sure.
There's no reason not to.
Right.
So having said that, I was trying to think, like, in the 90s and 2000s, I would buy almost everything because I want that rewatch factor was there, and then when I was watching this video, it kind of made me think, oh, that's right. How many new movies have I bought? Maybe 5. I've only seen one movie in the theater in the last 12 months. And that was that Naked Gun. And that one, I don't know. Maybe we'll get into that at another time. But I just wanted to see it because I love comedy, and I'm sure we will be having episodes on said comedy. But that was the only movie I saw in the theater, and I used to go to the theaters like all the time. But nowadays it's like, well, do I want to spend $20 on some rehashed movie I've already seen that I'll forget about? I mean, right. And so, having said that, is there so much stuff before my time? Well, this isn't really before my time, but I never really saw it. But there's so much stuff that I haven't seen that I'm like, okay, well, why don't we go back to this? Because people were better actors. Maybe I'm just looking at this through rose-colored glasses, but I feel the actors were a little more talented. The stories were definitely more well written, the direction and everything. And so I guess to put a little bow on it, it's like, this movie was a nice, pleasant surprise just because I was bored. I was looking for something. Right. But at the same time, I saw it was Hal Needham. Yeah. And so I was like, another movie he did I didn't realize he did that I used to watch all the time as a kid was Rad.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I had no idea he directed that movie. But I've seen that movie 100 times as a kid. I haven't seen it in the last 40 years, but...
right. He directed another movie too that I saw not too long ago that I wasn't expecting him to have directed, and it was kind of a surprise, So the movie Rad, Josh Brolin, movie Rad, great movie.
So,
all right,
So that's our little discussion there on Hooper, 1978. I think if you haven't seen it, it's on Tubi right now. So if you like Burt Reynolds or Hal Needham or Roscoe Pico Train, or
just good old fashioned 70s fun,
or you're like, who the hell's this Jan-Micheal Vincent you keep talking about? Or Sally Field's running around in little hip hugger shorts, I would highly recommend checking this one out.
She looks like Daisy Duke before Daisy Duke. Right there, little mini version.
So, all right, so we're going to go ahead and put a bow on this one. I want to thank everybody for spending some time with us, and hope everything is well. And anything you'd like to add there on the?
No, we'll get you on the next one, and come back, and we'll do it some more.
All right, and so for that, we will see you next time.